let me know when you want to hit record, and we're starting now. Excellent, thank you. Look, everybody, I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting, most of us, I should say, or I am, particularly on the land of the Wadawurrung people, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge that if there are any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people with us today, we acknowledge you as part of the Greater Geelong community. Welcome everybody, and we do apologise that we are all virtual tonight. There has been some circumstances beyond our control as to reasons why we couldn't meet in person, but we are in a virtual sense tonight. So everybody is virtual, which sometimes makes it a little easier so we can see your faces. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, and it was advertised to the public and is open to the public. We have made a statement on our website to say to people that recording will be available later in case people rocked up to the gallery, which I'm sure, Sharon, they probably won't, but just in case they did. And this meeting is open to the public, and when we go through to the confidential section, it will be closed to the public. Committee members are advised that this is the hybrid meeting, and that will be recorded and put on the council's website. And committee members vote by showing of hands, physical or hands in the raising hands option, and as per the Regulatory Legislation Amendment Reform Act and the Local Government Act. Can we have a show of hands from everyone so you can see and hear me? That would be great. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've confirmed we've got quorum already, so I think we're ready to get on with the agenda. Now, before I do, I'd just like to introduce you to the new members of this council that we have with us here today. For myself, I'm Councillor Kylie Grisbeck. I represent the Windermere ward, and I've got the privilege of leading the GME committee for the next period of time. I'd like to introduce to you Councillor Jim Mason. Jim Mason has been on the council the same length of time that I have, and I'm sure most of you know Jim, and I look forward to we both look forward to, and Councillor Cadwell look forward to getting to know you a bit better as we go through these processes. And Councillor Cadwell is an apology tonight. Unfortunately, this meeting does clash with another of her portfolios, so we'll have to have a conversation about timing for Councillor Cadwell, and Councillor Ron Nelson is an apology, sorry, until he gets here. He's just running late and an appointment. So Sharon, I'm going to just acknowledge any other apologies, please. You're on mute, Sharon, sorry.
Apologies. That'll be the first and only time, hopefully. We have apologies from Kent Borman and Brendan Caligari.
Thank you. And we'll move to the declarations of interest.
Sorry, Councillor Grisbeck, before I also just wanted to acknowledge Karina.
Oh, hello.
Sorry. For those who may
Karina's
not be aware.
new. Yes.
Karina, yeah. So Gareth was the proxy for the CEO, and Karina's stepped in as the interim CEO. So welcome, Karina. Thanks, Kylie.
Thank you, Tennille. I didn't actually see you there. Hang on, I'm going to extend my gallery so I can see you. Yes, please, we'll acknowledge the acting CEO, Karina Filan, and it's great to have the CEO in attendance at these meetings, so we appreciate that. But we thank Gareth for his offer to assist the CEO during that process. Thank you very much. Now, do we have any declarations of interest that we need to declare in the open part of this meeting?
None have been advised to me.
Okay, thank you. I wanted just to do a general declaration, Sharon, if I may, and then we'll work through the other declarations later on. But for those of you who don't know who I am, in my day job, I do work at the TAC, and I am the acting head of marketing, comms and external affairs, which includes partnerships. So you'll see from time to time when the TAC is involved in supporting a major event or a sporting opportunity, I will step out, and because I do have the direct responsibility at that end, around those partnerships. So Ron Nelson, I've had a quick chat to Ron, and given that he's been on GME before, I'm going to ask Ron at any point to just hold the chair for me whilst I'm still getting my feet on the ground, and then the other councillors can also take a turn as we go into the future. So I just wanted to make that known. So on that note, we've got the confirmation of the minutes from February. Now, because Councillor Mason and I weren't at the minutes of February, can I just have a mover and a seconder to accept those minutes? Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Tracy. All those in favour of those minutes to be carried? Thank you. No objections? Okay, thank you very much. Sharon, I'm going to pass to you for correspondence.
Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Kylie. Did you actually nominate a mover and a seconder for those minutes?
Yes, Natalie and Tracy.
Oh, sorry. Apologies.
okay.
You did too. You did too. Matters arising from the minutes.
Yep.
There's nil matters.
Yes, nil matters arising. So have we got correspondence for noting?
And nil correspondence for noting.
Okay. Question time. So is that questions from the gallery if we had?
Yes, we also invite the community through a public notice in our City News page to submit questions via email, and we've received none.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to section B for the reports. Sharon, we'll have the budget update, please.
Thank you. The decision, the budget reflects the decisions made at the February open meeting, which was Geelong Revival Festival, the 2023 Geelong Revival Festival, which is in a subsequent year. So there's no adjustment to the open budget since February.
Any questions for Sharon on that current budget? No, thank you very much, Sharon. You've also got some post-event evaluations. Did you want to step through those?
I will. Thank you, Councillor Grisbeck. The first funding evaluation is from the 2022 Victorian Teachers' Games. The Teachers' Games, as the members may be aware, the city procured to host the 2019 and 2020 Victorian Teachers' Games. The City of Greater Geelong hosted the first ever Teachers' Games some 20, it would be 25, 26, 20, 27 years ago. And they wanted to bring the 25th celebration or edition of the Games back to Geelong. So 2020 was to be the 25th edition. Unfortunately, COVID came along and the event was cancelled. So the 2020 event was cancelled in 2020, cancelled in 21, and they were able to finally deliver that event in the second half of 2022. It was a great success by post-COVID standards. There was certainly a reduction in participation that was expected, particularly given that the target participation group of the Victorian Teachers' Games had come out of a couple of years. You know, teachers had come out of some very challenging years, and 2022 had been a big year for teachers back in schools. So they were not expecting to reach the registration numbers maybe of pre-COVID. However, they ended up with over 1,800 participants, which they were extraordinarily happy with. The event itself offers 44 sporting, recreational, wellness and social events. which are made up of 110 individual event sessions. Those events were held in over 30 venues across the region. So it is definitely one of those events that brings large numbers of participants that stay right across the region. People tend to play where they stay where they play. So we see a really nice spread of participants right across the region, and they add value to that sporting program with lots of social events. So the deliverers, the event organisers that are appointed by the Department of Education, we're very pleased with the event. The event moves around. We've hosted 2 now in this period of time. We probably won't see the events come back in the cycle, come back to Geelong till maybe around 2030. But certainly it was a great success in 2022 when we were all a little unsure how people would come back out and respond to events. Is there any questions specific questions in regard to the eval?
While we're getting our questions organised, welcome, Councillor Ron. We welcome you.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Sorry I was late. I had to go to the dentist.
Not a good. I know where I'd rather be.
Just a clean. That's all right. But
Thank
just
you.
late. Sorry.
That's all right. Not a problem at all, Ron. No questions of that one, Sharon. Did you want to move to the? Oh, sorry, Tracy.
Tracy's
Go
got
for
her
it.
hand up.
Go for it, Tracy.
That's okay. It's not a question anyway, just a comment. They're really pleasant to work with and really proactive and positive. The Teachers Games group is what we find. So they want to take our material, they want to get it out to their participants. I find them really, really great to work with. Not all event organisers are that sort of positive, I suppose.
Thank you, Tracy.
That's really good.
So there's a motion to move Councillor Grisbeck.
Rightio, we'll move each individual one.
Oh, either way. Or I can talk
maybe
to all 3.
Let's talk to all 3 and we can move them
lovely.
on mass.
The next evaluation up is
sorry. Excuse me, Councillor Mason. Sorry, I didn't see your hand up there.
You're on mute, Jim.
Oh dear. Slow brain, slow computer. Look, I just wanted to also say, because I did attend the function at Cunningham Pier, the really lovely spirit the people had there on the night. And I heard, I think Tracy say, stay where you play, but they certainly played very nicely on Cunningham Pier as well that night. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, when the teachers get together, they like to let loose, that's for sure.
And who wouldn't? Their day job, I wouldn't. Thank you. Over to you, Sharon.
Thank you. The next event evaluation is let me jump to it, is the 2022 White Night Geelong. The second White Night Geelong event to be held in Geelong, obviously. The first event was in 2018. Originally, this White Night was to be held in 2020, but alas, COVID came along. And so the event was held in 2022. There were 3 regional events delivered in Victoria by Visit Victoria. Ballarat were early in the year. Bendigo was about 6 weeks before our event in October. The event was once again a huge success. It's a very popular event with the community. It's estimated that over 93,000 people participated in the event. Once again, whilst it wasn't quite as warm as the evening we had in 2018, which was unseasonably warm, it was still a pleasant evening for the most part, a little cooler. But the numbers, that certainly didn't stop any of the community coming out. Some of the, really exciting statistics about the event. 70% of the program artists were regionally based across Victoria. Over 320 children participated in workshops to create the projection works. 88% of the budget was spent in Victoria, so it's very much a Victorian and a regional event that is as designed and built for the benefit of regional Victoria. The footprint was slightly changed from 2018. More of the waterfront was incorporated into the event precinct in 2022, and that seemed to be quite popular. Steam Packet Gardens was more significantly programmed and was a great site of large crowds throughout the evening. Very few incidents. No significant incidents at all. It's a great event for creating safe, secure, engaged streets, and people feel really comfortable to explore the city centre after dark. And that's certainly what its vision is, and it certainly lives up to those expectations. The state government and Visit Victoria determine the scheduling for White Night. At this point in time, we don't know when we'll see the next White Night, but we're hopeful that the state government of Visit Victoria will see their way to placing another White Night in Geelong between now and I guess the Commonwealth Games in early 2026. That would make a great lead-in event to 2026. So hopefully we'll see another one come our way soon. Is there any specific questions I can answer?
Sharon, I just had a question while everyone's thinking, is that, and this is a newbie question, the funding ratio of 48 compared to the previous event funding ratio of 31.
Yes.
So what would you say is the is that the average? What are we seeing in terms of these events? How do they stack up against other events?
Yep. So the goal for Geelong major events is a funding ratio of 30 to 1, at least 30 to 1. We often see these events which have large sponsorship contributions to them sit below that number. 30 is the ideal, but White Night being such large numbers is returns a great return on investment of $48 generated by the event into the local community versus for every dollar spent.
Is that down to a shared model as well of support, or it's just what we put in compared to what the economic development,
yes,
like the economic driver is? Yeah.
Yep, it's literally a mathematical equation of the estimated economic benefit divided by what our contribution is.
Yep, fantastic. Thank
so
you.
48 to 1 definitely exceeds the target of 30 to 1, sort of the baseline of 30 to 1 that GME sets out to achieve.
That's great. Any more questions on this one from Sharon or Sharon? No. Okay, thank you, Sharon. Would you like to move to the next one?
Absolutely. The third evaluation on the agenda for this evening is the 2023 Bay Cycling Classic. But the Bay Cycling Classic also had a couple of years, 2021 and 2022, where it wasn't delivered due to the impacts of COVID. Bay Cycling Classic, the cycling event kicks off what is well known as Australia's Summer of Cycling. We know that Australia and Victoria have a significant number of major cycling events at the start of the year. They're all designed to, well, not designed, they all have to squash in the January and February period, because mid-February is when all of the cycling teams head to Europe to climatise and prepare for the significant cycling calendar that is in Europe in the European summer. So Bay Crits is the event that kicks it off. It's a homegrown event. It was created by a Geelong local, and to this day, Geelong has maintained a number of days, if not the majority of the event each year, through its 40 plus years of delivery. So in 2023, we hosted a 3-day event. Sometimes the event is 2 days, sometimes it's 3 days. It depends on how many weekends there literally are, where the weekends fall in the calendar year. So in the cycling calendar, Bay Cycling Classic starts it, and then that normally leads into the national championships, which are staged in Ballarat. Then there may, and then there's the Herald Sun Tour, and then there is the Tour Down Under, and then there's Cadell Evans Great Ocean Road Race, and all of those events need a weekend attached to their programming, and so often these events change each year based on how many weekend days there are in the calendar, and they never start earlier than the 1st of January. So this year we had a 3-day event, 1st, 2nd and 3rd of January. 2 days were in Eastern Park and 1 day on Ritchie Boulevard on the Criterium course. The 2 days in Eastern Park, interestingly, the event organizer has come up with what sounds like such a simple thing to do. Here versus the course between Saturday and Sunday. So one day they're riding clockwise on the course, and the next day they're riding anti-clockwise, and it provides a completely different course, literally a completely different course, where one they're riding downhill away from the start, and one way they're climbing uphill away from the start or to the finish line. And so by being able to maintain their infrastructure and their build in exactly the same location, they get 2 completely different courses that are rode quite differently by the cyclists over those 2 days. And then we move into the 3rd day on Ritchie Boulevard, which is a really fast and hard, challenging, small criterium that the spectators love, because they can sit on the hill on that natural amphitheatre of Eastern Beach with the bay in the background, and watch a really fast criterium race. It also is a really good time of year where there's not a lot of other programming around the waterfront, and so there's a lot of day trippers, there is a lot of foot traffic, visitors that are down the coast. There's a lot of people just exploring the waterfront, and this event provides some great, exciting sporting entertainment for those people. So the event had another strong year. Like all events, event costs are going through the roof. We're hearing across the board from all event organisers post-COVID, event costs are 30, 40, 50% higher than they were pre-COVID. So this event is no different to other event organisers. There's quite a few out there that are struggling to break even with their events post-COVID, and this event, like all other events, are going to have to work a lot harder on trying to bring in more sponsorship, more corporate sponsorship, and drive more income into their events to be able to break even in the future. The spectator numbers estimated for this event is around 2,000 a day. They combined in 2023, they combined a junior championship and a masters championship, again, which is great, because as we know, when juniors participate in sport, their mums and dads and nanas and grandpas and aunties and uncles all come along and watch them. So we know that they drive great spectator crowds. So all in all, was fantastic weather. It was really, really hot for a couple of the days, but great weather. And this was the final year of the existing contract for this event. And no doubt they will look to speak to GME in the near future about securing GME support for their next event in 2024 onwards. Any questions, specific questions?
That was a great summary, Sharon. Thank you. No further questions, I think, Sharon, at this point. So if we've got no further questions, I'd just like a mover and a seconder to accept those reports. Julie, thank you. Ron, seconding. All those in favour of those reports? Yep. Thank you, everybody. That's moved. We are heading into section C at this point, and just to say that the further business is that we will come back to the next meeting on the 15th of May 2023, hopefully at the Warriaki Nial building, and also offering a hybrid meeting. So that concludes the Sharon, I'm right to go into the confidential section. Perfect. That concludes the public section of this ordinary meeting, and I'd like to just call for to move a motion that the GME, the Geelong Major Events, close the meeting to the public in accordance with section 66 2A of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider contractual matters. I just need a mover, please, and a seconder. Councillor Mason. Thank you, and Robin, thank you very much. That concludes the recording, Sharon.